How powerful is Cox Internet? Powerful enough to let your band members in Vegas, Phoenix, and Rhode Island jam like you're all in the same garage. Get Cox Internet powered by fiber with America's fastest download speeds. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, always building better. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial connection. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions may apply. Analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Data. Fixed median download speeds. US Q3 2023.
Call from mom. Answer it. Call silenced.
Instacart knows nothing gets between you and the game. That's why they make ordering from your couch easy. Stock up today and get all your groceries for the week delivered in as fast as 30 minutes without missing a minute of the game.
You have 47 new voicemails.
Download the app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Celebrate and save at Ashley's Anniversary Sale. With Hot Buys, your choice of colors starting at just $3.99. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $2.50. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases. And shop top mattress brands like Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and Beautyrest Black with 60-month special financing. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery may be required. See store for details.
Happy to be joined by former big leaguer Andy Bennis. He's on the hotline. I go way back with Andy. I doubt he remembers. I covered the Wichita Wranglers in 1989 when he was making his professional debut. Andy, welcome. How are you?
I am doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
You remember me?
Yeah. I don't. No.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie, but I would probably recognize you if I saw you.
Yeah, well, I'm 35 years older, so, you know.
Yeah.
I covered the team, and you were a phenom at that point and the number 1 draft pick, and your first assignment was to pitch here in Wichita for the Wranglers. What do you remember of that time, of that team, of that moment being here in Wichita?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was very thankful that was my first stop. We have some friends here in St. Louis, Charlie and Michelle Hilleman. Charlie was an outfielder, and we played against each other when he was at SIU Carbondale, and I was at Evansville. And we lived across the hall from each other. And so my wife and I had been married for a couple years, and we just had a new baby boy. And so it was a really good stop for us. We really enjoyed it.
What was it like for you just kind of being groomed, and you didn't spend much time in the minor leagues at all? You were on the fast track to San Diego, but just in the time that you were in the minor leagues, just kind of knowing that you were on the path to the big leagues, what were you kind of working on? What did you feel like as a person, maybe the ways you needed to grow, and obviously the organization had a lot of big plans for you?
Well, yeah, they were very positive with me. I think as I look back at it, one of the things that I wish they would have had me do when I got to Wichita, I think it was, hey, just let him pitch, let him do his thing. And I was out there throwing 100 miles an hour every 5 days and striking out a lot of guys and throwing a few breaking balls, but really didn't feel like I was developing, as I look back at it, like what I was going to need when I got to the big leagues. And I think part of that was, you know, the Padres were just like, probably told the pitching coaches, just let him do his thing and monitor pitches and all of that. I really wish they would have said, hey, you know what, when you get to the big leagues, 100 is great, and your breaking ball is going to have to, you know, do some work, but we want you to throw X amount of changeups a game. We want you to work on that. And I remember spent a long time pitching against Greg Maddux, and I just asked him, I'm like, what? He just had a phenomenal changeup, and he said it didn't matter what the result was. They told me I was going to throw 15 changeups every game, regardless of what happened. And when he got to the big leagues, it was one of his best pitches. And as I look back, that would have been a huge deal to me. When I got to Vegas after Wichita, it was kind of the same thing. And so when I got to San Diego, I really was a fastball, breaking ball guy. And then after one start, our pitching coach, Pat Dobson, said, "You're going to start throwing a slider." And so I was fastball slider, and I could kind of open it up and throw more of a slurve, but I didn't really have a changeup. And I wish in a lot of ways that they would have told me the same thing that the Cubs told Maddox: "You're going to throw X amount, and if you give up some runs, you give up some runs." But that doesn't take away the fact that I really loved being in Wichita, and I really enjoyed the city, and the people there were so good to me. I just have great memories, and playing in Lawrence Dumont Stadium, and I played there in a college league, and it was just, I have really good memories from there.
Well, you pitched in the 90s, obviously, and the game now in the 2020s is a little different. How would you put yourself? Would you rather have pitched back then, or would you rather pitch now? You know, back then it's a little more small ball, a lot of steals. Now it's all just homers, homers, homers. Do you think you'd have been more successful now than you were back then?
I think I've been more successful back then because I'm 56 right now. No, I'm just kidding. I think the difference, as I look at it, we had our strike zone was defined from, upper thigh down to maybe a little bit below the knees, and, maybe a ball off the plate on each side. So you had that rectangle that you were throwing at. In the game today, now they've taken that rectangle and they've put it vertical. So you get a higher strike, right? And you typically need to be on the plate. Well, I was on the plate anyway, so that didn't really bother me. I had good location. But I had a kind of a riding fastball. And so, over my 14 years, I ended up striking out 2,000 guys. But if a ball was at the belt, it was either a ball or maybe a home run. So, and now you can go above the belt and still get a strike. So I don't know. I think I probably would strike out more guys today, just because I could locate and I could elevate the ball, and that was kind of my deal. But I don't think it's hard for a lot of the guys that are former players to kind of see the game, because back then guys were going to, even middle of the order hitters were going to work really hard to get the ball in play and shorten up with two strikes and try to move the ball. And there was more stealing, and the game is just different. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. And so they're looking for, different skill sets, I think. And there's more of a premium on power, and, so whether you walk or, whether you strike out or fly out, they don't care. So guys are just letting it rip just whenever. So it's just different. I think I did, with my stuff, been good in either time, but I think I would strike out more in the game today for sure.
Andy Bennis, our guest. I've got a twofold question. First, I'd like you to tell us what you're doing nowadays, and then secondly, you were drafted by the Padres. You got to the big leagues in your very first year in professional baseball, which started here in Wichita in AA, went through AAA in Las Vegas. Then you made 10 starts for the Padres. They traded you. They ended up trading you to Seattle in 1995. Right. And I'm just curious, you came up with them, that you were their number one pick. How did that trade affect you mentally, or did it? By that time, were you okay with that?
Yeah, so for your first question, my wife and I, and we have 7 kids now. We had 4 biological kids, and they're between 28 and 35, and we have 8 grandchildren, so super blessed in that way. And then we've adopted 3 from overseas. We have 2 from Russia and 1 from Ukraine, and they're 20, 17, and 14. So our 14-year-old has 5 nieces and 3 nephews. So big family, and, wow. And very thankful. I have a baseball organization here in St. Louis. Every once in a while we'll have a team play out in Wichita at a tournament. It just kind of depends. But my club is the St. Louis Prospects, and so I enjoy being around kids. My son, that's 17, plays football and baseball. My oldest two both played Division I baseball and played pro ball. So that's not in the cards for Brock, but he's doing really well. So I'd say life is good. I'm very thankful I can make my own schedule and spend time with my wife. I'm involved in some Bible studies and things that kind of keep me centered. The Padres drafted me, so that was really special. And being the first pick, I happened to be kind of the next guy, and somebody went down, and so they called me up, and that was a really good experience for me. And over the 6 years I was there, we had 2 owners, 3 general managers, and 4 managers. So there was so much going on there. We had some really good players, and then in '93, I think we traded Sheffield and McGriff, and we kind of, things were kind of had a young team, kind of rebuilding. And I remember I was an all-star in '93, and they wanted to extend me, and I really wanted to know what the direction of the club was. And so, it was kind of a rebuild or whatever. And in '95 at the trading deadline, I had a pretty good idea I was going to get traded. And that's hard when you've been somewhere for 6 years, but at the same time, it was super exciting to me to be going to a team that was competing to make the playoffs for the first time ever in Seattle. And I went and played with A-Rod and Griffey and Randy Johnson, Edgar Martinez, and Lou Piniella. And that was he was a treat to play for, but at the same time, the city was just on fire. And so it was a really cool place for me to go, even though my heart was, my first place was in San Diego. It was a kind of a fresh beginning for me. And after I had that time there and got to pitch in the playoffs, I came to St. Louis and was able to play for the team that, I grew up watching. And we make our home here in St. Louis. So it was kind of bittersweet, leaving a lot of friends, community that I was really involved with during the season and in the off season. And but it was a good opportunity for me personally for my career to go play in a playoff situation.
Yeah, Andy, you talked about something that I was going to ask you about, which is that early '90s Padres team. I still do in a lot of ways, but as a kid, I just eat, breathe, and sleep baseball, and I tore through media guides. And I remember that '93 Padres media guide because it had Sheffield, who had just won the batting title, and Fred McGriff, who just led the league in home runs, on the cover. And that team went close to 500. You had Tony Gwynn, obviously. You as a number 1 pick. Bruce Bochy was the manager. Did you feel like something was brewing there? Did that, when it kind of fell out the next year, was that a surprise? And then, like you said, in Seattle, what was it finally like to get to pitch in those type of big games?
Yeah, it was, we also had Tony Fernandez, Bip Roberts. We had some really good players. For whatever reason, it just never clicked. We had good starting pitching, but we just couldn't put it all together. Atlanta, at that point, Atlanta was in our division, and they were pretty good with those top 3 guys, and they always had a good closer. So it was a little disappointing that it never really happened in San Diego. It did in '96 because we played them when I was with the Cardinals. We beat them in the division series. It was weird playing your former team, but going to Seattle was incredible. I got traded there at the deadline, and then Vince Coleman came over within a week. And our lockers were next to each other, and obviously a starting pitcher and a everyday outfielder, but we were kind of on the outside. We were very well received, but this group had been together for a long time with Tino Martinez. We were in the same draft, and Edgar, A-Rod was new, but Griffey, Randy Johnson, Jay Buhner, all those guys, Joey Cora or Dan Wilson, the catcher, they had been there for a long time and hadn't won, and this was their opportunity to win for the first time. And so when I went there, there was a lot of expectation. I either pitched really, really well or not good at all. It was, I think we won 9 out of my 11 starts. I had a couple clunkers and a couple, they bailed me out, but I think I ended up winning seven starts, and we make the playoffs, and it was so exciting that the Kingdome was filled every night and hadn't played in front of a capacity crowd other than opening day, or if the Beach Boys were in concert after, then it would San Diego would fill up. But it was just super fun. It was hard. We had 3 kids, and my wife was pregnant with our 4th when I got traded, and at that point, she's not around, so I'll say it, but she's not in the room with me now. She said, I hate baseball, right? And then when we were going to make the playoffs, she's like, oh, it's going to be like another month. And she was going back and forth from San Diego to Seattle, and I was never back. I got back to San Diego for like an off day, but it can be really hard on the families. For me, it was super fun because we were winning and very cool. You're in a new place, and people were super excited about the team. They kept saying if we made the playoffs, that there was a referendum for a new stadium for, I'm not sure what they call it now, but it was Safeco Field. And so being a part of a team that got a new stadium built that's just beautiful out there was super special.
Final moments here with Andy Benes, formerly of the Wichita Wranglers, of course, spent 13 years in the big leagues. I got to ask you about the 96 Cardinals because I'm a lifetime Cardinals fan. That was such an interesting and fun team, and it was Tony La Russa's first year as manager there. You had Willie McGee and Ozzie Smith kind of at the end of their careers. You had an outfield of Gant, Langford, and Jordan, which I loved.
Right.
You had an interesting pitching staff. You were the ace going 18-10 that year. Your brother Alan was also a very good starter. There has to be a book about the 96 Cardinals, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a book. It was super fun. We had a really good team. We beat the Padres in the division series, and then we were up 3-1, as you know, being a Cardinal fan, in the LCS against Atlanta. And Tony decided to start Stottlemyre on 3 days rest. I threw game 1 and 4, and we ended up winning both games. And Todd threw game 2, and Tony would say he wanted to win at home, and it just didn't happen. Smoltz beat us, and then we faced Maddox and Glavine. But I think as I look back, we had a really good team. It was a pretty close-knit team. But being on the same pitching staff with my younger brother was one of the coolest things that a player could ever do. I think we appreciate it a lot more now as we're older, but you're grinding through every day just trying to do your thing. But it was really special, and just having the opportunity to spend every day with him and have a companion on the road, it was really neat. I grew up a Cardinal fan from Southern Indiana, and so to have the opportunity to play with Ozzie and Willie, I think we played 3 years with Willie, and they were my 2 favorite players. But that team was super athletic. The outfield was amazing, and we just ran up against a team that was won the division every year and was just on a great run with great starting pitching. Otherwise, we would have had a chance to compete in the World Series. But super fun team. Tony was fun to play for, and Dave Duncan was and probably known as one of the best ever. So it was a privilege to pitch for him.
All right, I appreciate that trip down memory lane, the 96 Cardinals. Andy Benes has been our guest. Andy, very much appreciate you taking some time to talk with us today.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And hello to everybody in Wichita. Hopefully I'll get back there at some point.
Well, we hope so. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Take care, guys.
Why?
Why?
If you have T-Mobile 5G home internet, you might be hearing this
Why?
a lot.
Why?
Every time your internet slows down during the busiest hours.
Why?
Why?
Because your network gives priority to cell phone users.
Why?
Good question. Why not switch to Cox Internet with 2 times faster download speeds than T-Mobile 5G home internet during peak hours?
Okay.
Stop the whys and visit cox.com/5G home for details. T-Mobile prioritizes certain T-Mobile phone users over home internet users during times of congestion.
Celebrate and save at Ashley's Anniversary Sale. With Hot Buys, your choice of colors starting at just $3.99. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $2.50. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases. And shop top mattress brands like Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and Beautyrest Black with 60-month special financing. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery may be required. See store for details.
The national sales event is on at your Toyota dealer, making now the perfect time to get a great deal on a dependable new car. Like a legendary Camry, built for performance and available with all-wheel drive, you can count on your new Camry to get anywhere you need to go. And with available features like heated seats and a multimedia touchscreen, you can stay connected in comfort and style. Or check out an affordable and reliable Corolla with a trim for every lifestyle. From the hip and agile sedan to the sporty hatchback, there's a dependable Corolla built just for you. Plus, both Camrys and Corollas are available in hybrid models, so no matter your style, you can drive efficiently and affordably. And right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So visit your local Toyota dealer. And check out amazing national sales event deals on Camrys, Corollas, and more when you visit buyatoyota.com. Offers end April 1st. Toyota, let's go places.